Hey everybody, welcome back to this special edition of the Micro Vlogcast. We're doing a little mini series here on our time at NeoCon Design Days at Fulton Market. Back in June, the office furniture industry comes together once a year in Chicago and releases new products and launches a lot of new initiatives. And Foresight team, we go there, we work with a lot of office furniture manufacturers doing a variety of sustainability work, from product level work to organization level work. And in this episode, we're joined by Floyd Wilson III. Welcome, Floyd. Floyd is a client advisor at Foresight, and we're here again with Brad Van Valkenburg, who is our resident LCA expert, leads our LCA practitioner and team. Guys, we want to talk a little bit in this episode about how we saw companies trying to tell their sustainability stories inside of their broader product mix and what they're doing as a company. So what did we see as it relates to storytelling this past year?
Yeah, I think there was a bigger emphasis this year on a lot of specific product impacts and certifications. There were companies who had a product that this is 100% made from recycled materials, and that was out front, the first thing you saw when you walked in your showroom.
Yeah.
Companies like Steelcase had a full product line of 8 chairs, each one with a stamp of a carbon neutral chair, and focusing each one of these, like they had a whole section in the showroom that was all about that one certification.
Yeah.
And it's really seemed about people, instead of focusing on a lot of the high level corporate goals, was we're focusing on a single product, and we're going to make it fully out of recycled material, fully out of this new hot material that's coming out, breaking through the mold, or we're going to go for some sort of sustainable certification.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that about a year and a half ago at an office furniture leadership conference that I attended. There was an architect on a panel from a very world-class, well-renowned architecture firm, and he literally turned to the audience, which is all these companies, and said, how many of you can tell me the embodied carbon or the carbon footprint of one of your single products? And not very many hands went up in the room. And this is the architect speaking here. He goes, well, be prepared to be able to tell that story, because our customers, which are the largest companies in the world who are building buildings and buying all of this stuff, they're asking the architects, what is the carbon footprint of this chair or of this table? And so it's interesting to see, less than 2 years later, the market demand from what consumers and companies want down through the architecture and design process into the manufacturers, and how that's being responded to. Yeah, and
I want to make sure to say, we're not saying that full level corporate ESG strategies are bad and shouldn't be talked about.
No.
They should.
What's being celebrated.
The key is taking those, because those directly affect what happened to your products, and then tying that to them and quantifying it, allocating that directly to your product.
Yeah.
And be able to tell that story as well.
Yeah, I think it's another layer of depth of the previous sort of corporate emphasis. So how about you, Floyd? Did you see anything? Notice anything?
I don't know. I mean, just kind of piggybacking on what Brad was talking about, now you're seeing these things showcased in a way so that people's first portion of what they're taking away from their experience in the showplace is, now this company has a means to help me solve for the problems that our organization's kind of building around, right? So in the past, you could get to that information upon a more intimate conversation, but to see that be the focal point of the communication, I think is pretty cool and exciting. And then also, Brad, we had talked about and we had noticed how we're not just seeing product level sustainability, we're seeing what people are doing in their community, and that also being celebrated, which is, I think, kind of interesting in the position of NeoCon, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are kind of some of the things I thought were a bit off the beaten path as compared to normal.
Yeah. Yeah, layering in more stakeholders into how they're tying their products to how it impacts the community or their employees.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool. Good stuff, guys. Well, appreciate you being here, talking a little bit about storytelling at NeoCon Design Days this past June. We'll do one more episode, and we're going to talk about high-level trends that we saw, which will be a nice recap of all these last 4 episodes from the special edition of the Micro Vlogcast. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.